Welcome to World Talk Brief. How did a regional conflict escalate so far that on March 4, 2026, a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship, not in the Persian Gulf but thousands of miles away, off the coast of Sri Lanka?
You know, that single event, happening so far from the center of it all, really tells you everything you need to know. This isn't just a regional squabble anymore. Oh no. This has become a global struggle, a war being fought at the same time across a whole bunch of interconnected fronts.
So to really get how we got here, we're going to break it down into four key parts. We'll start right at the epicenter, the military campaign inside Iran. Then we'll follow the ripples as they spread out, see how this firestorm has swallowed up the region, divided the world, and is now being fought on hidden fronts you might not even realize exist.
Okay, let's start with the direct military action. The US and Israel have launched this sustained, really intense air campaign aimed right at Iran's military capabilities. And the scale of it, well, it's pretty staggering.
Just look at this number, 1,600. That's how many aerial missions the Israeli Air Force alone has flown over Iran since this war started. That is a massive number of extremely high-risk flights deep inside hostile territory. And those missions, well, they've delivered 4,000 munitions on targets all across the country. This isn't some limited strike. It is a full-on bombardment. The goal is pretty clear, to systematically take apart Iran's ability to fight back.
And it's not just Israel. The United States is running its own campaign right alongside them. U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, says American forces have carried out 2,000 strikes in Iran. It's this coordinated, two-pronged attack that's really at the heart of the conflict.
So what are they actually hitting? Well, the target list tells you a lot about the strategy. It's not just the obvious stuff like missile launchers and air defenses. They're going after the Bajid militia headquarters. That's a strike at the regime's internal grip on power. They're hitting airports, command centers, and maybe most importantly, the International Atomic Energy Agency has now identified damage at the Isfahan nuclear facility, which has a lot of people around the world very, very nervous.
And it's not just bombings. We've seen some other huge military moments. For the first time since 1985, an Israeli F-35 actually shot down a manned Iranian fighter jet. That's a big deal. We're also hearing reports about successful strikes taking out senior commanders in the IRGC. That's Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which looks like an attempt to cut the head off the snake, so to speak.
Now for that first ripple effect. Iran hasn't just been sitting there taking these punches. Not at all. It's hit back with a massive, coordinated retaliation, using its own forces and its whole network of proxies, basically setting the entire Middle East on fire.
Just take a look at the map of these retaliatory strikes. Iran and its allies have gone after U.S. targets in critical infrastructure all over the Gulf. The U.S. consulate in the UAE, American bases in Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, all hit. They've targeted Aramco oil facilities in Saudi Arabia, again, and even attacked an oil tanker in the supercritical Strait of Hormuz. This is an all-out, multi-front assault.
And right here, this is where the conflict crossed a major red line. For the very first time, a ballistic missile was launched towards Turkey. Now, it was intercepted by NATO air defenses, but that's not the point. The point is, this was an attack on a NATO member, which threatens to pull the entire alliance much deeper into this war.
And of course, there's the human cost, which is just immense. As the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah gets worse, more than 60,000 civilians have already been officially displaced in southern Lebanon alone. It's a devastating reminder of how this conflict is impacting ordinary people all across the region. You know, this escalation isn't just happening on the battlefield. It's created this huge crack on the global diplomatic stage. The world is picking sides, and the lines being drawn are pretty stark.
So on one side, you've got the Western allies closing ranks. France sent its aircraft carrier to defend partners in the Gulf. The U.S. even took the pretty extreme step of cutting off trade with Spain because they wouldn't grant access to their military bases. But on the other side, there's just widespread condemnation. China and Russia have slammed the strikes. Big players in the global south, like Brazil and South Africa, are questioning if they're even legal. And even Pakistan has warned Iran about attacking its ally, Saudi Arabia.
This quote from South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa really sums up how a lot of these nations see it. They're basically saying, hey, this isn't self-defense, this is just more Western military intervention, and we need to get back to diplomacy.
And now for that last ripple. Because beyond the missiles and the angry speeches, This war is being fought on fronts that are a lot harder to see, but are just as critical: economics, cyberspace, and the fight over information itself.
The economic hit has been immediate, and it has been severe. Qatar's huge state energy company declared force majeure. That's a fancy way of saying it can't fulfill its gas contracts, which sent a shockwave through global energy markets. Oil prices spiked. Major airlines like Emirates suspended all flights, messing up global travel. And the attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, that threatens one of the most vital economic arteries on the planet.
A really key weapon in this war is disinformation, the deliberate spreading of lies to create chaos and confusion. And it's gotten so bad that social media platforms like X are actually announcing they're cracking down on misleading, AI-generated content about the war. This information war is so central to the conflict that cybersecurity firms like Sophos have put out official advisories. And their recommendations really show you where this new battle is being fought. They're telling everyone to only trust reputable sources, to double-check claims before you share them, and to protect your critical data. This isn't about military targets anymore. It's about protecting the very idea of truth.
So that brings us back to our big question. How could a U.S. submarine sink an Iranian warship off the coast of Sri Lanka? Well, the answer is pretty clear now, isn't it? It's because this isn't some simple, contained conflict. This is the very definition of a modern war. It's a globalized fight happening all at once on every front you can imagine: land, sea, air, and across the invisible battlefields of cyberspace and information. Subscribe to World Talk Brief for more clear, thoughtful explanations.